there has been a lot of talk in Angels land. I guess they're the Los Angeles Angels. So Angels land about what they're doing this offseason. Arte Moreno, good owner, bad owner. There's a lot of stuff going on in Angels land. And also the WrestleMania is going to be in LA soon. But first, you got to go through the Royal Rumble. We're going to talk Royal Rumble with Jon of Locked On Angels coming up today. Let's get into it, you guys. How's it going, everybody? And welcome to episode 523 of the Locked On A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, noted baseball fan, Jason Birkin. Today, I am joined by Jon. Is it Frisch? I don't want to say it wrong. Is it Frisch?
That's right. Frisch.
Jon Frisch. Welcome to the show. If you're an Angels fan, obviously, you know that these guys are amazing. But if you're an A's fan, these guys are amazing. I promote other shows all the time. I promote Locked On MLB. I promote Locked On Sports Today. I promote Locked On MLB podcast. Locked On Angels. They do good work over there. So check them out as well.
We're having a good time, man. My brother Mike and I host the show. So if you're a Locked On A's fan and you're interested in what we're doing, in Southern California, come on by. We'd love to have you.
Why not, right? But before we get into anything, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. That is just good. FanDuel, nice. I like them. I like them a bit.
Me too.
And before we get into anything, you can make sure to subscribe to both of our shows, either at Locked On Angels or at Locked On A's on YouTube, because that's helpful. We were personally trying to get to 1,000 subs by opening day. We're getting close. Every episode we get closer. So let's make that push. Help us out, Angels fans.
Yeah.
And if you like the show, comment and like below. If you comment, it helps other people find the show just like you. So that's helpful to both of us. You can follow me at @ByJasonB or at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. Jon, where can people find you?
You can find the show at Locked On Angels on Twitter, and then you can get with our personal sort of Instagram and Twitter at Super Halo Bros. That's where you can find Mike and I together.
There's some good graphics that you guys got going on over there. I definitely suggest following Super Halo Bros. But let's talk a little bit about Arte Moreno, because holy crap, you guys did a whole episode on this. It was fantastic. Yes. It came out on Tuesday, I believe. Mm-hmm. Fantastic stuff. Arte Moreno, you guys called it the buttercup effect.
Yes.
That was really funny.
Do you know why Angel fans say that?
I put it together throughout the course, like in context. I was like, okay, I don't know what this is. And then I was like, no, I get it. You build me up just to let me down.
Yeah.
Where you guys were saying he's going to sell the team. We are built up. And now he's like, no. I'm not selling the team. I'm here forever. And that was the let you down part. So and you guys got buttercups.
For years, they played that during the 7th inning stretch. And it was like, why are you playing this? Like we're leading the game right now. Don't buttercup us. So yeah, that is a term of non-endearment among Angel fans, is being buttercupped. And man, that was the ultimate buttercup, to think that we were moving away from Arte Moreno and all the baggage that has plagued the Angels in about the last 10 years. Yeah. And to suddenly say, oh, no, never mind. I'm good. I'm going to stay. It's just like, what? So that was quite a day for us on Monday.
And you guys talked about this a little bit in the show, but it seems like things have changed since about 2010 or so. Can you just reiterate a little bit of that for my listeners, and just what has changed? What has been that? Why has it changed since he took over in 2003, 2004? Mm-hmm. To why 2010? What happened there?
So, it's funny because when Arte took over the team, it was 2003. He had just bought the club from Disney. Mm-hmm. And surprisingly, Disney let the baseball people do baseball things. You had general manager Bill Stoneman. You had Eddie Bain taking care of the drafting and the minor leagues. And Eddie Bain's the guy who drafted Mike Trout and Randall Grichuk and Tyler Chatwood and Tyler Skaggs and Mark Trumbo and Garrett Richards, like all within like 2 years of each other. Right. Yeah. So guys that you and I know, guys that you've seen play for the Angels. Mm-hmm. And, some of them are still in the league and whatnot. Then around 2009, 2010, Eddie Bain retires. No, not Eddie Bain. Bill Stoneman retires, and Arte Moreno brings in Tony Regan's about 2010. And that's kind of when Arte starts hiring his people, not the people that he inherited from Disney, who had put pieces in place for the Angels. And then he brought in John Carpino as the president, and they really turned the Angels into a marketing machine, a money-making machine. And I can't fault them for making money. I mean, Arte bought this for 183 million from Disney. It was evaluated at 2.5 to 3 billion by Forbes. So everybody was expecting that sale to be about a $3 billion sale. So they made their profits. They have set out to do what they wanted to do, and that was to make money with this team. However, that has come at the expense of good baseball decisions. And like I said, letting baseball people do baseball things, because as you know, and you've observed, our minor league system has been awful over the last 10 years. Once that class of Howie Kendrick and Eric Ibar and Jared Weaver and then of course Mike Trout come up. Once that class, like those guys all graduated, there wasn't really anything behind them and not a lot of prospects to be excited about. Yet Garrett Richards came up and he was really good. But yeah, it's been really tough the last few years. I think Perry Minasian has turned it around in the last couple of years that he's been here, especially that all pitcher draft that everyone was like, what the heck are the Angels doing? Nobody realized how badly we needed to draft 20 pitchers and sign 19 of them. And those are the guys that, Mike and I and Angel fans are looking forward to seeing in the next few years. And some of them are already making an impact. Chase Silseth is a starter who had his debut against the A's and was the first from the 2021 draft class to make his major league debut. So that was exciting. But all that to say, there was a halfway point in Arte Moreno's tenure where they decided to go for the money, to go for the big bucks, and turn this thing into a marketing machine. That's why you saw Pujols get signed and Josh Hamilton and all those big signings. That's where everything changed, in my opinion.
And Anthony Rendon. Let's not forget Anthony Rendon. He's still on the team sometimes.
Yeah. And the thing about that is the Angels legit needed a third baseman when they signed Rendon. And we, at that point, needed starting pitching more, but obviously the Angels couldn't give Garrett Cole what he wanted. So Arte said, well, give me the next best guy. And it happened to be Rendon. And I honestly, I feel bad for Rendon because I think when he's healthy and put together and doesn't have hurt hips or hurt wrists, like he is still a productive guy. And we dove into his stats a couple of weeks ago. And when that guy has runners on, he like is a RISP machine, man. When he's got runners in scoring position, he's still got it. He just needs to stay on the field. And so I don't like, yes, that was a very Arte move to get Rendon, but also that one I give a little bit of credit for because they legit needed a third baseman at that point. So I'm hoping that he can turn it around and stay healthy this season.
I mean, if not, we'll talk about it here in the next segment, but there's some depth involved now. So that's good. But I have a fire question for you. Okay. And I hope we don't get canceled. Keep listening because I want to know what your answer is. But do you hold any of this? I don't know. Do you hold a grudge to Mike Trout for signing this long extension and kind of giving Arte Moreno some credibility? Because if he doesn't do that and he had either walked out the door or he was an impending free agent in the coming years, then all of a sudden Moreno has to do like other things to improve this team. And now he's like, I got Trout. And then Trout brought in Ohtani. And then, go, and then you go on from there. So do you dislike Mike Trout at all? Can you dislike Mike Trout at all?
No, it's impossible to dislike Mike Trout, but I hear where you're coming from in the sense that it lends credibility to who Arte Moreno is, as in like, oh, Arte can go, look what I did. I signed Mike Trout for, to be a lifelong Angel. But I also think on one hand, there's the idea that like we wanted that franchise player. And of course, Mike Trout is your franchise player. Yeah. But at the same time, I think he kind of was duped in a way, because I'm sure before he signs that deal, it's like, at the time it's Billy Epler is the GM, and like, all right, Mike, so here's the game plan for the next few years. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Da, da, da. And Trout himself said, like, I like where we're going. I like the direction we're going, and things like that. But then Billy Epler's fired after 2020. And so there's just this constant churn of like new manager, new GM, new manager, new GM. So there's been little consistency other than Arte Moreno in that. And so if I'm Mike Trout and I get offered that deal, first of all, I'm going to take it. Second of all, like, you want to win with a team that is hopeless without you, right? Like, don't you want to be the guy who gets a statue outside the stadium? Like, you want to be that guy. And when they make you their franchise player and then promise you like, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, we're going to bring in pitching, we're going to get these guys to help you out and supplement this team, and just none of that really happened for Trout. So in a way, I don't blame him. I kind of think he was duped a little bit when he took that deal.
Poor Mike Trout. He seems like such a nice guy. And it's hard to like root against him, even though, we're in the same division. I'm like, yeah, he hits home runs sometimes. That happens. Oh, well, good job, Mike Trout.
Right.
But it is, I mean, he was hurt like an entire, was it 2021?
2021. Yeah, he was.
I don't think
that
he played the A's that year.
Yeah, dude. That was a really bad injury freak kind of thing. He was just running from second to third and pulled up on the calf. And so I think they were really worried about like an Achilles injury. And so they really took it easy on him. And then, shortly after that, Rendon went out with the hip stuff. And so 21 was tough. And somehow 22 was even more brutal. So I'm hoping for a change next season, man.
All right, I got one last question before we send it to break, and that is, would you rather have your current owner, Arte Moreno, or A's owner, Jon Fisher, and let's be clear, we do not like either of these men. Neither of them are great, but who is less bad? Give me your take.
Man, that's a tough one. I mean,
it is.
At the very least, and this isn't a knock, because I hate when people use this against A's. I really do. I hate when people use this against A's fans, like Las Vegas A's. Like, I hate that because I think it's unfair to the fans.
Yeah.
But to Artie's credit, he's kept them in Anaheim. He's kept them there. And the first 10 years, he really seemed to care about this team. I mean, he got Vladdy Guerrero and Bartolo Colon and did some things, and they made playoff appearances. They got to the ALDS and like 2 years in a row, I believe, and even before that. And so it's not like they weren't competitive when he first came on, but I would hate to be I would hate to have Jon Fisher, because I look at the guys you have in Matt Olson and Chapman and all your pitching, and to see them go away and thrive somewhere else, like, you could still root for them, but it's like, man, they could have been doing that here. They should have been doing that here. The one thing I will say though is, like, your guys' windows never seem to be that long. Like, I won't be surprised if you guys are even good this season. Like it'll be like, oh, the A's are back. Like, it's what is it, like every 3 years you guys come up with like a super team, and then you got like a great like 3 to 5 year window before they decide to trade everybody away again. But yeah, man, I have to say, I think to Artie's credit, those first 10 years were really strong. And then the fact that the team is, still in Anaheim and signing Mike Trout long-term. And, we'll see what happens with Shohei. But I as much as I hate to say it, I think I'd much have Moreno. But what do you think?
I mean, yeah, I like the fact that the A's go to the playoffs. That's nice.
Right.
It's the uncertainty, though, of, are they going to be here for like my son to watch or not? Or are they going to be moving? And that's the not fun part. Right. I try to, put on the brave face and be like, yeah, they're going to stay, no problem. But every now and then you're like, oh, wow, they could actually leave. And then it hits. And then you just sit on the couch watching The Last of Us by yourself in the dark.
And it'll be the last of you in Oakland, hopefully.
Yeah. Good show, by the way. I did not get to play much of the video game, but that's for a different podcast. It was too scary for me. Episode 2 is about where I clocked out in the game. I was like, yeah, I can't do this.
No, not for me.
All right, but anyways, coming up, we're going to be talking about the Angels offseason and how optimistic Jon feels about it, because they keep doing the same thing, and I'm intrigued. But before we get into that, we got to talk to you about our new sponsor, FanDuel. They do so many great things. And one of those great things is the NFL playoffs, because they are here. We are excited to announce our new sports betting partner for Locked On, because they're the #1 sportsbook in America, and that is FanDuel, my friends. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. New customers can join today to get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at fanduel.com/lockedon. FanDuel has all of your favorites, from money line to point spreads to player props. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. There's lots of things to be excited about over at FanDuel. The A's have very long odds of winning either the AL West or the World Series. So if you want to place a $100 bet over at FanDuel, you can win like 20 grand if they do either of those. So go check it out. Why not? Become a gagillionaire. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use, so football fans don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, at fanduel.com/lockedon. Make every moment with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And that is that's a great sponsor right there. You got to love FanDuel for doing all of that. But let's get back into this episode here and talk a little bit about the Angels offseason. There's been some under the radar moves. The guys like Mike Petriello seem to be kind of enjoying the Angels offseason. And for me, it seems like every year they do something, but then I'm like, until they prove to me that they're going to do it, I don't believe them.
Right.
Where are you sitting? Like, which additions, which signings are you most excited about? Which ones are going to be like the big difference makers for the Angels in 2023?
Yeah, I think that, first of all, that infield is going to be much better, because when and if and when you have an injury to a Rendon or somebody, the Angels' issue is that they have the superstars, right? Yeah. They got Trout, they got Rendon, they've got Ohtani, they've got a pretty good young pitching staff now with a full season behind all of them, Suarez and Detmers and Sandoval. And so the issue with the Angels is that you go from tier A to tier D with nothing in between. Yeah. So when you add Gio Urshela and you add Brandon Drury, right? If Rendon goes down, you don't go from tier A to some quad A player like a Jose Rojas. And so now you've got a capable, like, B, maybe C+, maybe better, B- in Urshela and Drury. You go to the outfield and you've got a full outfield of Renfroe, who I'm excited, like, dude's going to hit 30 bombs. Like, I fully believe that. And then you got Trout, who can hit, 40 bombs in 119 games and not even play a full season. Then you got Taylor Ward, and as long as Taylor Ward doesn't run into a wall in the outfield, he'll be hitting 25 to 30 home runs. And so they have this like superstar outfield of really good offensive guys. And then they add somebody like Brett Phillips, who, is not there. He's not there for his bat, right? But
all A's fans were very upset that he signed with the Angels.
Really?
I think everybody in baseball loves Brett Phillips. He is
100%.
a delightful person, and
yes.
I hate that you guys have him now.
The
it
Ohtani
makes you guys more likable.
The Ohtani and Brett Phillips memes are going to be off the hook this season. But perfectly, like, more than perfectly capable outfielder, especially in the later innings. Like, that guy is gonna, flash some leather out there. So all that to say, like, I feel good about this offseason, because what the Angels were missing was like the middle of the roster. You've got your superstars and you've got your up and comers, but everything in between was gone. And so they have slowly fill that in. Even Tyler Anderson, like I was somebody who really wanted him to sign with the Angels, and then he did. And, even if he has some regression, obviously doesn't have that Dodgers magic when you're not on the Dodger team, but I think he's going to take what he learned last season. His changeup massively improved because of the Dodgers. And I think he'll take that into the season with him. And even if he regresses a little bit, from 3-something ERA to like 3.5, a 4 ERA guy, like I'll take that. Like behind Ohtani,
That's not bad. Yeah. I think that the A's currently, you said that, usually it was here and here for the Angels, and now there's more of this. The A's are this part. So they're the B and C players. They're an entire roster of B's and C's, and I think that they're going to surprise people, honestly.
I think so too. Yeah.
They have depth. They have a lot of depth.
And that's what we were missing, honestly.
Yeah. And not like superstar depth, but the A's have some pieces there where you're like, well, like they just signed Jesus Aguilar, pending physical, which is apparently a big deal now. And you're like, all right, well, they also have Rule 5 draftee Ryan Noda, and also Seth Brown played there a bunch last year. I've been saying that he's going to play in the outfield, but that's not confirmed, but it would make sense. And then you also have like Dermis Garcia, who has a lot of power. He strikes out a lot. Jordan Diaz could be another option over there, but they might put him over at second base. There's a lot of options here that are like not horrible options by any means. They're all just guys that like need that chance. And all of a sudden you get like a guy like Jesus Aguilar looking for a bounce back, probably a trade candidate, trade deadline. But they got a bunch of these guys where I'm like, things could break okay for the A's. Like they don't need to stay like super healthy either. They could have an okay season.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued. And if we all do a crossover like Locked On likes us to do before the 2023 season, oh man, I'm going to have lots of fun making bold predictions. So with all of that said, where do you think the Angels stack up in the West? Where do they stack up with like the Texas Rangers, who are probably that 3-4 battle is how I see it currently. Yeah. But how do they stack up against the Rangers?
Against the Rangers, I mean, gosh, it just comes down to their pitching staff now. I mean, I know that Josh Young is going to play third for the Rangers, obviously, but like, is there enough offense with the Rangers? Like, sometimes I wonder if they've got the bats. Like, I know they got Semien and Seager, but and they really improved their staff. But how do you feel about the Rangers?
Okay, well, how did you not include A's legend Jonah Heim in your offense?
That's
great.
True. He's great against
from both sides.
He's great against Shohei too.
He's great against the A's as well.
We need Jonah Heim in Anaheim, so we can call it Jonah Heim, because that needs to happen.
That does need to happen. You said that Arte Moreno was a marketing genius.
I know. How did he miss out on Jonah?
It's because they dropped the Anaheim. They're Los Angeles Angels.
Right, that's true.
So that's why. Okay,
that's why.
I see it now. Okay, but yeah, no, that's great. That needs to happen. And then they're going to revert back to Anaheim Angels, and I would be very happy with that.
Same.
I mean, there's a lot of the talking heads and the smarter people, the analytics people, are saying that like Corey Seager is going to see a big bounce from the non-shift.
That's true. That's true.
And I will say, just to throw the A's in there for a second, I did some very light research, and it was basically looking at how Seth Brown performed against not the shift. And he hit like Freddie Freeman last year when he wasn't facing the shift. So just be ready for like a top 5 hitter in baseball being added to the A's, because there's no shift, baby.
Right.
Also, the year before, those stats were switched, and he was actually better against not the shift.
Isn't that always how it goes? You're like, ooh, this is a good stat. And then you do a little more research. You're like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah, I'm like, it could be something. It could be nothing. I don't know. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I if I'm being optimistic, I think the A's could finish 4th if like somebody falls apart, like maybe the Rangers. Like if DeGrom gets hurt, and then John Gray's fine, but he's not like, I'm John Gray. I think that the A's could do some stuff. We'll see. But I think that the Angels, they have the depth. And so it depends on how many games you're getting out of, if Ohtani is still doing what Ohtani does, that's great. If Mike Trout is healthy for 120, 130, you're looking pretty good. But if you're missing Trout for like more than half the season. It's not looking great,
Right.
but I could see them being like a solid 3. Or do you see them overtaking the Mariners? Like, where do they stack up with the Mariners as well?
Look, man, last season we went 10-9 against the Mariners. So even with that month of no Trout, I should say, and we played, there was a terrible sequence of events when the Mariners came to town where we were throwing the ball away, and I took that clip and set it to the Benny is it Benny Hill,
Benny Hill.
you know, because that's what it was. And if Trout's there and if Rendon is there, that 3-game sweep or whatever it was, 2 out of 3 that the Mariners took, that doesn't happen. And so I know that they've made some changes. They've got some good improvements, but I mean, our crappy team went 10-9 against them, and most of those were with Trout on the team. So stay healthy, guys. Come on, please, for my sake.
I will also point out that the A's, they made a little trade. Obviously, the Mariners made a big trade in getting Luis Castillo at last year's trade deadline. The A's made a little trade trading away their Luis Castillo type pitcher, getting JP Sears in return. Yeah. And JP Sears went 2-0 against them. He also was winning the 3rd game that he faced Luis Castillo in. And just saying, random guy was able to beat Luis Castillo 3 games. It was the bullpen that blew one. So, Luis Castillo, ooh, big bad guy. Watch out for Luis Castillo. And also, JP Sears might not even be in the A's rotation because they're so deep.
Yeah.
They're great. I'm very intrigued, but we've given you a lot of baseball talk today. And, maybe if you don't like wrestling, we've given you almost a full episode's worth of baseball talk. But coming up, if you like wrestling or you just want to hear a couple of guys talking about chair shots, stay locked in because we're going to talk about the Royal Rumble. Who do we think is going to win? Who do we want to win? Who are the surprises? Let's get into that here in just 1 second. Welcome back to the Locked On. This is how I do it on YouTube. I'm just like, it just goes straight. I'm not going to cut it. I don't do anything. You get the straight feed, baby. Welcome back to the Locked On A's and Angels crossover. Make sure to follow both of our shows wherever you like to hear podcasts. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at @ByJasonB on Twitter. You can also follow the show at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. John, one more time, where can they find you?
Hey, you can find us at Locked On Angels on Twitter and at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't think I follow you guys on Instagram. Dang.
Oh, you got to.
Ah, man, I didn't prepare for this interview at all. All right, but let's talk a little bit about the Royal Rumble, which is the kickoff to WrestleMania season, as they have branded it forever. And sometimes things happen, sometimes things don't. I think last year Brock Lesnar won, and I didn't care. This happens a lot, where it's a long match,
right?
And then I'm like, I didn't care about the ending at all. I'm like, it's the 4 biggest stars. Oh, who's gonna win?
Right.
Brock Lesnar did not need to win that.
No,
so
not at all.
I'm anti-Brock Lesnar. That he could win in any other way.
And he's had 100 title shots too. Yeah. So.
and then he's gonna hold the title forever, and then he's gonna lose it at SummerSlam. Oh no! Right. I've seen that story. I want to see different stories.
Yes.
So this year, I will be honest. I don't watch a ton of WWE programming anymore. AEW.
Yes, my man.
I went to the show last Wednesday in Fresno. It was fantastic. Had a great time. If AEW is coming near you, go see an AEW show.
Yes.
It's a good time. They record like 3 different shows.
You're gonna be there. 3 shows, man. That was great.
And also they do Dark Elevation. So like the YouTube show, they did that. So I was there from like 4 to 6 watching wrestling. Or
nice.
Sorry, 4 to 10 watching wrestling. It was great. I had so much fun. And stuff happens behind the scenes that you're like, oh, this is fun. But let's talk about the Royal Rumble here. The Women's Royal Rumble. I don't know what the storylines are in the women's division necessarily. I know the people that I like, though, and who I would want to win. But let's start with you. Who do you want to win the Women's Royal Rumble?
I think my want to win is probably Rhea Ripley. And I could also say that that's my going to win. Too.
Okay.
I see Rhea taking that one.
I have Rhea as my going to win. I think she has the best odds with Vegas, like 50%. She's
wow.
She's very up there.
Yeah.
But my want, and she has been my favorite wrestler when she was in NXT. I also love Rhea Ripley. She was fantastic there too. But on the main roster, I'm like, yeah, she's been okay. She's had some stops and starts. It looks like she's really getting a push right now, according to social media at least. But the person that I want to win, one of my favorite wrestlers in the world, is they renamed her, but it's Io Sky, formerly Io Shirai.
Yeah.
Love watching her wrestle. She is
Dude.
fantastic. Her entrance music was great in NXT, so that always got me very excited. So that is who I want to win the Royal Rumble. I think, just like you, Rhea Ripley's probably going to get it.
Yeah.
And I don't have this as my want or anything for the men's Rumble, but I did see something in preparation for this and said that Rhea Ripley has previously said that she would like to perform, be an entrant into the men's Royal Rumble.
The men's Rumble, I saw that.
Both? What if she wins both? That would be so fucking cool. I did a swear. I'm sorry, people. But that's how excited I would be. Win both. That's amazing. I don't know what you would do storyline wise with that, but that would be
just
amazing.
Unify all the belts, dude. Both women's, both men's titles.
Well, you could give Finn Balor or something like the contract to go face Roman Reigns or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Whatever. It'd be a good time. So do you want to talk about surprises or do you want to talk about the men's Rumble first?
I can't think of any women's Rumble surprises, but I do have some for the men's.
Usual.
You know?
Yeah.
It's gonna be Trish Stratus and Lita. Yeah, exactly.
And then maybe Holly or something.
Yes.
The Undertaker's wife.
Michelle McCool.
Yeah, she's actually been great in the previous Rumbles. I've really enjoyed because I don't necessarily remember her from when I was watching back then, but
that's all right.
She's been great.
On.
Yeah. I don't know who else they could bring back that's not currently on. I mean, Sasha Banks, obviously, but I don't think she's going back to WWE at any point.
No, I saw Nia Jax might be a surprise entrant, which that would be interesting, but she hurts everybody, legit hurts everybody.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Not a ton of surprises. Sasha Banks would be the one, or Naomi. That would be another one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I feel like they're like a combo package at this point though, because they go everywhere together. And so I'm like, I figure if one of them shows up somewhere outside of New Japan, is Sasha just or I guess Mercedes Moné? Is she now with New Japan, or is this a contract deal?
I think it's a contract deal. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's a full-time deal.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what she wants right now because she has other things. She has the acting going on, the modeling. She has a lot of things going on.
A little show called The Mandalorian. You might have heard of.
I've heard. She does not have many lines in that show.
No, but she did get a jetpack tornado DDT. That was pretty cool.
She did. That was fun. So that's the women's Rumble. I would love to see Io Sky get pushed to the moon. It seemed like was it WrestleMania last year when she returned? No, maybe it was SummerSlam. Yeah. When she returned and she was with Bailey, and that was really cool. I was like, oh, okay, this is a push. I haven't really tuned in to see how that push went, but it seems like it's going well.
She's tag champs.
I think that they got those immediately, right? And then,
right away.
So let's talk about the men's Royal Rumble. There have been some rumors. I mean, one person that is projected to win was going to be a surprise entrant, but they've already announced it, and that's Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
And that he seems to make the most sense storyline wise. They're just going to go right back into it. He wants to win the title that his dad never got to hold. Mm-hmm. So that's a cool storyline.
I love that.
He's probably going to be one of, I think Roman Reigns is rumored to have a match on each night of WrestleMania. So he's probably going to have one of those matches.
Yeah.
I don't know that he wins the Rumble to get there, though. It would be a better story probably, but I don't know that he wins the Royal Rumble to get there. So who do you think is going to win the Rumble?
I'm with you. I think Cody is going to win, and that's kind of like a sentimental favorite just because of the storyline they have going on. But who I'd like to win, and this is something my brother convinced me of, is Sami Zayn.
Ooh,
having Sammy and all of the drama that's happened with him in the bloodline for all of that to culminate in a Royal Rumble win, maybe even a Royal Rumble win by mistake, or maybe it's hey, Sammy won the Rumble, so now Roman doesn't have to fight anybody. And Sammy's like, no, I think I do want a challenge for that. Like, there's like if they land this plane with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn super well, I think it'll be better than the like Yes Movement Daniel Bryan stuff, because Bryan Danielson's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and to see him in AEW is awesome, and his storyline going into WrestleMania 30 was fantastic. But if they land this plane with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline well, I think, to me, that storyline will top the Yes Movement, because it's been so good.
Well, I heard that I again did not watch, but there was a trial of Sami Zayn on Monday night.
So good on Monday.
How did that go? Like, did they like? Was he acquitted of all charges, or like how did that?
He was, because Paul Heyman showed all the things he was guilty of, and when it looked like he was gonna get like the spike from Solo Sikoa, Jay Uso of all people said,
"Yeah,
hold on, I got evidence that Sammy is loyal," and so he ran all this footage of Sammy being loyal to them, and so that was like just the greatest moment, because Jay hated Sammy for so long, and then he won them over at Survivor Series, and so Jay comes to his defense, and so Roman determines him not guilty, but then he says, I don't want to see you until Royal Rumble. So he said, get out of my face, don't want to see you till Saturday. So that is an intriguing storyline.
That is very intriguing. What if he eliminates all of the Bloodline from the Royal Rumble?
Something
and it's like, I'm coming for you. I was a snake the whole time. That would be amazing.
Right.
He was actually one of the people that I have as my wants. The other one was Rhea Ripley. Those are my two wants. Sami Zayn, Rhea Ripley. I think that those would be a lot of fun. A big change, because usually it's like, oh, whoever entered like 29th, I'm like, yeah, they haven't been there. I don't care that it's the biggest name. Yeah. Oh, Hulk Hogan came out and he had to wrestle for 3 minutes. I'm like, that doesn't do anything for me. I don't care about that. You got to build me up in the Royal Rumble. I want somebody to enter like 8th. Give me
just don't get Buttercup. You can get built up, but not Buttercup. See, full circle, tying it back to baseball.
Who do I think will win? We talked about this a little bit before the show, but online, and that is, I think that The Rock's going to win.
Yeah, that's.
I think that The Rock's going to win. I think
that'll be the surprise.
Big rumors that he's going to be, the WrestleMania is in Los Angeles. There's also a big story going on that he doesn't think he can get in shape in time to have the match that he wants at WrestleMania. Weird that story dropped a week before the Royal Rumble. It's been a rumor for, I don't know, a year and a half. Yeah, but now they're like, no.
Now
we need to squash that. So, and also they dropped the Cody Rhodes news, because they had they were happy with the surprises that they have. Are you going to tell me that Matt Cardona is going to make people really pop? I mean, he's great. People love him. I'm just saying he's not at the same level as the literal Rock.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
You got to say it. Who else? I mean, Stone Cold could come out, but he was just in a SummerSlam. So and he's also always around.
Right.
So it'd be great if he came out and did stuff, but I don't know. Maybe Vince McMahon wins this one again. A 2-time champion, and he's like, and now I'm gonna sell the company, and that would be really fun.
One surprise. This is a surprise that I think will be a legitimate one if it happens, and that is, I just saw it on Twitter, and it's Jay White from New Japan.
And I only know of him because of AEW, and I like him a lot. And that would be similar to, I don't know,
AJ.
7-8 years. Yeah, AJ, when he came through, I was like, oh, nobody knew about that. Is he a free agent, or is he coming up on free agency? How's his contract?
I'm not sure what his status is, but man,
if
they were able to bring him in, that would be pretty cool.
That would be odd. And he's really good.
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun. Actually, no, I'm thinking Will Ospreay. Never mind. I like Will Ospreay a lot.
Good
Jay
too.
White's fine. But yeah, no, I just want to be surprised. I want to have fun. That's all that I ask for.
Exactly.
And then if the winner is great. But usually of late, they've been doing, I mean, Drew McIntyre in 2020, that was really cool. And
that was cool.
COVID happened, and he didn't really get to fulfill that promise. But that was like the last, I mean, and that would have been like the only kind of cool Rumble in a while. For my money is
Edge,
like, that was a surprise. And Keith
Lee came out and went toe to toe with Brock. That was a cool moment. Yeah,
Yeah, you got to tell the stories as you're there. And with Triple H in charge, is he still in charge? What's the
Yeah, let's
final
hope so.
declaration on that? Because if Vince is back, oh man, he's gonna ruin everything. But anyways, have fun with your owner Vince McMahon of the Los Angeles Angels.
Yep, exactly.
All right, but that is all the wrestling talk, all the baseball talk that I think we can fit into today's episode. So thank you so much for making Locked On A's and Angels your first listen of the day.
Yes.
For your second listen, go check out Locked On MLB Prospects, because Lindsey Crosby, he does a bang-up job over there, and you guys are all familiar with Lindsey Crosby at this point. He's been on all of our shows. He's great. Go check him out. Go give him a subscribe on his YouTube channel.
Yes.
But, I mean, you have anything else you want to plug? Super Halo Bros doing great work. Got great gifts. They're on Instagram.
We're on Instagram. We got some Super Halo Bros merch now, so you can check that out.
I saw that. I need to get paid.
There you go.
I'm gonna clean you guys out. It's gonna.
There we go.
Where can they find the merch?
It's on Fourth Wall. So if you follow us on Twitter or Instagram, you can get to our link tree, and then you can find the merch link in there. So again, at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram, and then of course follow the show at Locked On Angels on Twitter.
Yeah, because him and his brother, great work. They do primo stuff. All right, that's all that we got for you guys today. So until next time, go out and celebrate good times, A's and Angels fans. We'll talk to you guys soon.